Hey guys, Blake here. Welcome back to Cooking with Balake. All right, so today we got something a little different. We're gonna do pickling. So what are we gonna pickle? This is what our final product will look like. Something similar to this. I did this in the last batch. This is green beans, some jalapenos, some garlic, fresh dill, and I think I got some basil in there too. And they really turned out good. So today we're gonna do more asparagus. We're going to do pickles, which are back over here, and we're going to get ready to start slicing them up. And additionally, what I'm going to try out is to make some sauerkraut out of this right here. This is a red cabbage and then a green cabbage. So I've never done that before. We'll see how they turn out. And what we also got over here is a dozen eggs. All right, so we're going to try and pickle these too. Let's see here. So we got everything set out. We're using kosher salt. Usually the recipe calls out for pickling salt. Didn't have any in the store today, so this will work fine. No big deal. And we got a mixture of what is this? Apple cider vinegar and just regular white distilled vinegar. Okay, so we're getting everything prepared. We're going to slice everything up. The best way to do it is to get your jars all open, cleaned, and prepared. Slice up all of your food and load your jars up. And then when you make the brine, you dump the brine in hot and put your tops on. So we'll get to that in a bit. Stay there and be right back. Okay guys, here's what we got. The best technique I found for cutting up the pickles, I like to do slices like that. You can also do, just long ways and put them in, but I'm using Persian cucumbers, which I got at the store in bulk. And since I like to do slices, you can kind of fit more in the jar, I feel like, and you can pack them in a little better. So I'm using this mandolin. I put it on the number 2 setting, which isn't the biggest, but it's pretty good. It's just about the size of the pickle that I think you would like. So, and you can see how fast it is. When you have a million of these things to go through, it can take some time if you're using the conventional knife method. So this will save you a significant amount of time. So it's good here on the cucumbers. I also have jalapenos back there, which I'm going to do a jar of, and it works well on that too. So it can save you a lot of time. So the recipe calls out for, the brine recipe calls out for 5 cups of vinegar to 7 cups of water to 1 cup of salt. Now, I half the cup of salt. I use a half cup of salt. I've done it both ways. When I use the full cup of salt, it was a little too salty for me, and I find it just tastes a little better with the half cup. So you can do it either way. The recipe is actually an old family recipe that came from the Polish side of my family. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue doing this here. When I get everything prepared, I'll lay it out, and then we'll start loading some jars up, and pretty soon we got to get that brine boiling. So all right, stay tuned. All right, guys, I think we got enough ingredients here of these pickle slices, chips, salt, sliced up to load a couple jars up. So let me go through the ingredients. While I'm doing this, Josie's getting the eggs hard-boiled over there for the pickled eggs. What we're doing here is we're starting with cold water, putting all the eggs in, bringing it up to a boil. Once it starts boiling, put the top on, let it sit for 15 minutes, and then cool it. So that will be our pickled eggs over there. So let's load a jar up. I have my chips. I have, can you guys see that? Yeah, it looks like you can. So I have fresh dill, and that's really actually the key. The key is to have the freshest ingredients. So we just bought all of this today. If you have a garden, that's even better to pick all of this and then, pickle it yourself. But I don't have a garden, so I went to CalFresh. All right, so here's what I'm using. I'm using basil, some of that, and but dill will be our primary ingredient. All right, so let's load a jar. I use my regular mason jars. The first thing you want to put in is the dill. And how much do I use? I just grab about that much. Can you see that? Yeah, about that much. And the reason you want to put the dill in the jar first is that, you don't want to have to cram it in. You want it just to sit like that, so you can kind of see it too. And then once it starts, sitting and pickling, and if it's in your fridge, it's kind of nice to be able to see that. It just lines up. Okay, so let's start loading it up. Just put them in there, just like so. All right. Load them up. you guys can see all that. Okay, good. So the mason jars I bought are just, you can get them at Walmart, you can get them at pretty much any store, to be honest, and they're about $1 a jar, so it's by a dozen. It was a little over 13 bucks for all of them. But so let's see here, that's getting pretty close. You want to really fill them up as much as possible. You don't want to crush them to the point where you're putting a lot of pressure in there, but fill up the jar and try and make sure that there's no total empty space in there. So here's another thing I'm going to add in here. I'm going to add this fresh garlic. Just the cloves, these are peeled. I bought them pre-peeled in a bag somewhere. But I like to pop a couple of these garlic cloves in there, and usually I throw one in the middle. I kind of missed that, but we'll just get that guy in there like so. And then just kind of slide him in. All right. Shake it up a little bit, see if he drops down. So I do like 2 or 3 of those, and even, you know, the pickled garlic turns out to be really good also. Okay. And then what I like to do is add a bit of this basil. So let's jam it right in there too. Okay, that's good. There we go. I don't do too much basil. I think it just adds another nuance to the pickle, which is just kind of neat. Okay, all right, so let's do that. Cover them up. Load all the way to the top. Not completely to the top, but I'll just show you. Okay, that's good. Give it a little press. Don't crush it, but just make sure it's all tidy in there. Okay, here's our jar. It's all loaded up. There's relatively, can you guys see that? Not too much loose space in there. Got some garlic. Here's our dill, and that's it. So what I'm going to do is prepare all of the rest of these jars with pickles, and then we're going to dump the brine in once everything's prepared. Okay, see you in a bit. Hey guys, all right, so I just loaded up another jar, still doing the pickle chips, the dill and the basil, garlic in there, but a couple of these I'm gonna spice up a little bit. So also picked up a bunch of jalapenos right here. Cut them the same way on the mandolin slicer, and actually just through experience I'll tell you it's really, really useful to have that mandolin slicer to cut these jalapenos, because once you get them all diced up like this, that jalapeno juice can get really hot, so if you touch your eyes or anything, it can be a very uncomfortable experience. So what I'm going to do with some of these jalapenos is just pop them right in here, and that just makes the pickles just have a little more of that, you know, kick to it. And yeah, so, and I use tongs to pick these things up, and just pop them right in. Okay. So this just adds a little spice to it. And these pickled jalapenos just turn out so fantastic. And I will be doing a full jar of just jalapenos, and they're just awesome. Okay, there's another one. I'm going to keep at this, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, we're still hard at work here, but what I want to show you is this pickled asparagus and how I put this in the jar. I'm going to use the same technique basically as the cucumbers and the jalapenos, but the asparagus, you want to get it right to the right height. So if you've never had pickled asparagus before, or that sounds funny, it's really delicious. It goes really well, and Bloody Marys, so how about that? Okay, so once you get all your asparagus all washed up and cleaned, take your jar and stick one in there, just like that. You can see it sticks out the top. So then cut it down like that, and figure out what the right height is. You want it to be pretty close to the top of the jar. That one's not bad. You can see how it sits in there, just at the top of the jar, just so when you get all of them in there, they fit. So then take your template, if you will, and then pretty much cut all the other ones to that. So I'm just going to make them a tad bit longer. The trick is to keep all of the ends here the same. The ends being the frowny bits. So, okay, where's my knife? Is right there. Okay. And then we're just going to go right at it here. Boom. Okay. And we don't need these. We'll put them back there. And now we have all this asparagus right here that we can get in this jar. So it just goes right in like that. Boom. Sits in there. And it's perfect. Yeah, so when I put the top on, it'll all just sit in there just right. And some are a little different than others, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is, now that I got some asparagus in there, I'm going to slide in some, again, the basil, some more of this garlic, and maybe a couple jalapenos to make it a little spicier. And then I'll put a couple more spears of asparagus in there. Okay, stick with us. More to follow. Okay, we're still working here. But moving on to the sauerkraut portion. So I've never done this before, but I've looked some recipes up online. I'm going to do this kind of red pickled cabbage, a little different than the sauerkraut, but we'll make more of that, the actual sauerkraut, here in a bit too. Okay, so I used my mandolin slicer to slice up this red cabbage, and what I'm going to do is just put it in here. I have a couple of cloves of garlic in there, and I'm just going to load it up. One of the recipes I found called for like a little bit of onion in between there, so I just kind of cut some onions, and I'm just gonna drop a few in there, and we'll see how that turns out. So I'm just gonna get back to work here, and we'll start making our brine soon, but everything's still coming along. All right, so here's where we are now. We got all of our jars filled up over here, various assortment of things, asparagus, we got our pickled cabbage that we're going to do. We also have for the sauerkraut. Everything's loaded. Now what we're going to do is we are going to get the brine going. So let me make sure you guys can see that. And yes, okay, that's fine. Okay, so what's the recipe on the brine? It is 7 cups of water to 5 cups vinegar. So let's go ahead and do that. Here is our water, distilled water. That's going in. We got our 5 cups of vinegar. That's going in, and that's going in. Yeah. Okay. And here's my salt. And what I'm going to do is add it slowly as the water and vinegar solution keeps heating up. And then what I also have here, the secret ingredient, so to speak, is alum. What is alum? I don't know exactly, but I can tell you that it keeps the pickles crunchy when you pickle them, and when you open them up, that's what makes them good. So I'll slowly add this salt in as it heats up, and super saturate that solution, and then we'll be ready to load. Okay, I'll be back. All right, so here's where we are now. We got all of our jars filled up over here, various assortment of things, asparagus, we got our pickled cabbage that we're going to do. We also have for the sauerkraut. Everything's loaded. Now what we're going to do is we are going to get the brine going. So let me make sure you guys can see that. And yes, okay, that's fine. Okay, so what's the recipe on the brine? It is 7 cups of water to 5 cups vinegar. So let's go ahead and do that. Here is our water, distilled water. That's going in. We got our 5 cups of vinegar. That's going in, and that's going in. Yeah. Okay. And here's my salt. And what I'm going to do is add it slowly as the water and vinegar solution keeps heating up. And then what I also have here, the secret ingredient, so to speak, is alum. What is alum? I don't know exactly, but I can tell you that it keeps the pickles crunchy when you pickle them, and when you open them up, that's what makes them good. So I'll slowly add this salt in as it heats up, and super saturate that solution, and then we'll be ready to load. Okay, I'll be back. All right, guys, I think we're at the point now where we're ready to start pouring. So as you can see, the left side, got my broth going. It's just about ready to boil. This is just water right here, and we'll talk about that here in a second. That's going to go into the sauerkraut. Here we are all laid up. So we got the eggs completed and shaved and put in there. There is our pickled red cabbage that we're going to do with some onion slices and garlic in there. That is just straight cabbage in there, which is what it's going to be our sauerkraut. What we're going to add to that is a teaspoon of sugar, which is right there, and then a teaspoon of salt, which is right there. Okay, here is the loaded jars right in this area. And what we're going to do is bring them over here. Let's just make sure everybody can see the process. Okay, so the process of filling the jars, it's a little bit tricky. But what you want to do, get your jars ready. And I only do about 3, maybe 4 at a time. I'm just going to do 3 here. And you want to pour in the boiling brine and then cap them as quickly as possible. Okay, so pot over there is hot. So I'm going to use these oven mitts, cat oven mitts, and okay, here we go. So fill them up, cap them, and I'll do these 3. You guys can watch. This is my technique. It seems to have worked out really well. But here we go. All right, boiling hot brine. The other thing I like to do is, you can see this is tile. Doesn't really matter if you spill on it because it just gets everything a bit salty. So, all right, here's how it goes. I'm just going to dump it right in. And you just fill it straight up to the top. There we go. And you want to do your best to cover almost everything here. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Yeah, you can kind of see them change color a little bit as soon as that hot brine hits them. Okay, we're filling there. Okay. Cool. Just do a little more in this one. Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do is put these tops on like that, then like that, then like that, and then we start screwing these on. Just like that. And then give it a good twist. Give it a good twist. And then give it a good twist. Okay, that's it. I'm going to knock the rest of these out and show you when I'm done. Bye. All right, we got a lot going on here. Boiling up more of this broth solution. So I brought in this one right here in the back. This is about 2 cups of vinegar, another 2 cups of water. I put some pickling spice seasoning, some onions, and a couple of jalapenos. I'm just bringing it to a boil, but that's going to be for our pickled eggs. This is more brine just for the regular pickles, and then in the back there, that's just hot water. So let's go ahead and start pouring this stuff. I'll go ahead and turn the heat off on one in the back, and let's fill the eggs up. Yeah, there we go. Put you guys over here. Okay, let's see if you can see this. In the eggs, I also added some fresh garlic, some more pickling seasoning, and some additional jalapenos. So I'm just going to fill it up right here. I'm going to dump this brine right in. Stopping. All right. Yeah, that turned out really well. Okay, hot brine goes in, and top goes on. Bang, and bang. Okay. All right, that's now done. Let's move over here for a second and see what we got. Okay, so the sauerkraut is about ready. Let's see if you guys can see. Yeah, just fine. Okay, here is our eggs. These will sit in the fridge for a week or so. I think about 10 days is actually what they say. Okay, so sauerkraut. This is only cabbage in here, but I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar right there. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt right there. Here we go. And then I'm going to ladle in we're dumping this, I'll ladle that in. Just some hot water here. It goes straight in like that. Straight in like that. And straight in. Okay, fill to the top, and now last ingredient. Empty. All right, the last ingredient, which gives the sauerkraut the sour part, is calls for the recipe I looked at calls for 1 tablespoon of vinegar, but you know what? I'm gonna get crazy and go 2. Okay, so that's what's going to make it sour. Okay, let's put a top on. All right, and let's put that top on like that. Okay, that's sealed. So hear that little sound. What's going to happen is we're going to put these in the fridge, and I'm going to leave everything in the fridge once it's pickled. And what happens is these get sucked down, and that tells you that it's a good seal once they cool off. So water goes in hot, cools down, and it vacuum seals it. All right, I got a few more jars to fill up. I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out, and good. All right, guys, we're in the home stretch here. Everything is set up right here. I'll go over that in a second, but we have the last bit right here, and this is our, it's gonna be our pickled cabbage with our concoction over here. So this is a mixture of, we got ginger root, some pickling spice, and it has 1 cup water, 2 cups vinegar, boiled together.
No.
Maybe 2 cups water.
1 water, 1 vinegar.
1 water, 1 vinegar.
Ginger, chili pepper. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we are going to then add this to the last thing and talk through a couple other things. All right, let's make sure you guys can see that. Okay, good. All right. Last one goes on, just like that. Making a mess. Okay, don't quite have enough, but that's fine, because I'm just going to use the rest of this vinegar to fill it up. And maybe just a tad bit of water to even that out. Okay, perfect. Okay, top goes on. And let's seal it. Okay, one thing I failed to mention earlier, which is important. When you're done here, just give it a little spin like that before you put them away. And that evenly distributes the heat because the vegetables are a little bit cool and you want them all to kind of get the same temperature at the same time. So just give them a little spin. That's all you need to do. Okay. That's it. So let's see what we got. We'll recap real quick. Asparagus, we got sauerkraut, we got eggs, and we got pickled red cabbage. Plenty of pickles here for a long time. Let's see, what else do we got? Most important thing to remember is to keep them crunchy, they need to stay in the fridge. So we'll have to check out the garage and see how much space is in there. But if you can leave them in for 3 weeks for the pickles, the sauerkraut they say is only takes about a week, and the same thing with the cabbage. But the longer you leave it there, the better they say it is. So, all right, that's it. We're going to wrap up. And big shout out to awesome assistant, even a better sister Josie over there. And all right, tune in next time. Is it going? Okay, so we're getting pretty close to getting ready to finish the, what the hell am I saying here? We're not going to do that one.